Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. I am JB and of course with me is Mark Marsh.
Hey everybody.
So we've got an interesting topic today and I want to preface a few things. I know that people have become a bit tired of the multiverse with stuff like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness disappointing a few people, and then multiverse is just being a way to, find a way to bring in pointless cameos that go nowhere. But as well, I think people do like it when multiverse stories are told right, like Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse were tremendously well received. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Not really to jump on the multiverse bandwagon, but more to see how we can tell a good story that's multiverse like within the realm of Scooby Doo. So, yeah, Mark, do you want to kick us off with your thoughts on what type of multiverse project you'd like to see from Scooby?
So there's a few variants that I want to go over. I first want to go over the existence of them exploring the multiverse and seeing other possibilities within themselves, where there'll be like, let's say, one universe where the gang was never formed, and then this was the outcome for that. You know, all the stuff that they did had no effect because they weren't formed as a team, and then only parts of them were doing their own investigation. So you just take a look at like different possibilities, whether the gang formed or didn't form, or were they teamed with someone else. So there's other variants that they can look at before they indulge into monsters or team up with other heroes and villains. They can also look at the gang side of whether they were friends or not friends, or only part of them were working together. So they can see their unity as a strength. I thought that'd be quite a good one.
See, that's good because and really, that's the heart of this. That's really delved right into the story aspect, saying not, oh, this will be a good way to bring this person in or that person in, but what the multiverse can tell the gang about themselves, like the friendship, like what binds them together. And the multiverse as a way to explore that, which is absolutely incredible. Now, from your perspective, you've mentioned the gang traveling the multiverse. Would your version of Mystery Inc., the main version, would that be a version that we've seen before, or would it be a new version of the gang exploring, different places?
I guess you can call it Mystery Inc. Prime, as they're the ones who discovered the multiverse. They're different than all the other variations where they stuck together through thick and thin, but now they want to look at other different variations of themselves throughout the infinite timeline that exists. But that would be a best way to properly describe it, because it'd
Um,
be very good to see how, like, what happens if the gang was never, like, let's say one gang member wasn't born in that timeline. What would the effect be? Who would suffer? Let's say Fred wasn't born in this timeline. That means there's no leader on that gang, which means there's no one telling them what they should do, how to set the trap, how we're gonna like observe this situation. Without a leader, there's pretty much no one taking charge. We can pretend to be a leader, but Fred's the leader, so we can see how well they fail at every turn point. Or there'd be one where they never get Scooby and he's just left at the kennel or wherever he is. And so it's just the four of them. How Shaggy gonna do his duo act? Can't do it with Velma.
I like that because there's definitely like even different relatable things that we can bring into that. Like, I mean, I've always been an advocate for every single version of Mystery Inc., unless it's specifically stated, is its own universe, just because you can't get bogged down with different continuities. Like,
Or I have just thought of a good one. There'd be a universe where um Fred was never in love with Daphne, he was with Velma, or there'd be one where Shaggy's with Daphne, or there'd be another where it's just Daphne and Velma, or there'd be another where it's they all have their own partners outside of their workplace.
I mean, that's the thing. One thing I did like about, say, the Spider-Man multiverse is it was such a big meme at the time that there's so many different versions of Spider-Man. Oh, look, they're rebooting again. Oh, it's the same story. Like that was a meme. That was an L that Sony Pictures genuinely took. But now reframing it in the context of the multiverse like they have done, they've almost turned that L into a W. Like, yes, now we're
Yeah,
gonna have a story that there's a reason why all these stories are so similar. Like, and I think almost like we've mentioned with Scooby, there's so many bizarre variants, different combinations that could almost be applicable. Like everything I think is the multiverse as far as Scooby goes. Like if you think that everything is in continuity, it doesn't really make too much sense. Like how can we have the origins of a pup named Scooby Doo when we saw Shaggy meet Scooby in Scoob? That has to be a separate
yeah,
timeline. And equally in Mystery Begins, the pet adoption fair, like he can't have met Scooby 3 times, and that's just what we're talking about now. There's probably other ways that Shaggy and Scooby have met each other in different media, so it all has to be a separate universe, but with similarities as well, like without a doubt. So in terms of that, what type of characters exploring these themes? I mean, maybe this is a bit of like cameo bait, but what versions of the gang and what actors or actresses that have played the gang would you like to see return in this series?
probably my best variation of the gang is the gang from Mystery Incorporated, because I feel like they're more serious on the things that they do, whereas the show was more it hit more to home than anything else. It hit them where they sleep, they hit them where they live, their friends, their neighbors. They're all connected in some way. So I feel like that variant of the gang would probably be the best ideal to use if this was ever put forward.
Yeah, I like that. And really, at the end of the series, they had almost set themselves up for a bit of a multiverse adventure anyway.
But what you could do is you can say as the main plot, like if we're going to do a continuation storyline, we should do it where it's takes elements from Mystery Incorporated, where they do the same
Mm.
like continuation storyline that they did because it worked. But I would think really good is there's a villain out there that destroyed the universe, like the multiverse, where each gang member is in their wrong universe. So they all have to work together to fix their multiverse to get it back on track. So if one person's out of one universe, let's say Fred's in the universe where the gang was never part of a team, he's going to be really confused because he's never been used to working on his own. So he's got to get a gang together to get himself back to his universe and get their boring Fred back to their universe.
This will never happen, but I've been inspired, out of all things, from the Barbie movie, which, by hook or by crook, actually managed to villainize a Mattel employee, like a CEO. And I'm like, that's kind of wild that a company would sign off on a representation of their company being vilified. And I'm almost like, in my ideal world, I would make a meta commentary where you've got David Zaslav going around as the multiverse villain, trying to cancel different Scooby Doo worlds. And so the surviving multiverse has to come together to stop him from canceling Eternity.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
you don't
it
have.
will never happen, but
I
that to
know.
me would be such a fun storyline.
And the best thing about the multiverse is it doesn't have to be just the shows or the movies. It could be the comics as well. So imagine the comics were affected as well, like the Scoob Apocalypse, where they were beamed
Ooh.
out of their own comic book world into another, but still had the same 2D structure in a 3D environment.
Oh, see, that's a good question. Say, for instance, if let's say Mystery Inc. that gang from that show, let us say for the sake that they're Mystery Inc. Prime. So they were the first to discover the multiverse. They're trying to defeat a villain, probably not David Zaslav, but a villain that can be multiversal and stuff like that. Like if they were to say go into Earth 2002, where it's the continuity of Spooky Island and Monsters Unleashed, would you like to see it be almost like Looney Tunes back in action, where you've got animated Daphne talking to Sarah Michelle Gellar, or do you think it would be that version would become live action, or you'd have animated Sarah Michelle Gellar? Like, how would you want to see them blended?
I would like to see the mix between live action and animated. If it was just thrown in for a scene, I'd be happy with it. Doing the entire thing like that might be way too expensive to be a show, be more rather than a movie. I'd rather not have that. But if they were going to do cameo scenes in a show, then it would make sense doing a live action mix, just walking through there in one episode, or just like a live action Daphne or Velma just in a wrong universe.
And I think it would be, oh gosh, I don't want to get dicey. I really don't want to get dicey. But I think it would maybe make things not right. Like, you don't need to instantly be converted. But I think something like the multiverse could make people more understanding of the existence of stuff like Daphne and Velma movie and Return to Zombie Island. Not that it's good. Like, you don't need to like them at all. I definitely don't. But just, oh, it's a different universe. It
Yeah,
might be like a crap universe, but as long as you don't need to worry about it, it's there.
because what they could do as well, if it's not the gang, if it's not Mr. Ink Prime that found the universe, it could be like the Council of Velmas, like the smartest Velmas in the multiverse come together to observe the multiverse for their own knowledge, for their lust of
I'd like
knowledge and
that.
information. They could do that as well, because seeing all these Velmas around, you got plain old smart Velma finally meets him and finds out she's just dumb compared to them. and she can
I'd
complain like,
like
is that how
that.
I sound in front of others?
I'd like that. You could literally have the council, literally like almost like the Citadel of Ricks from Rick and Morty, the Citadel of Velmas, and it could be different people that we know. Like, you could bring back a Mindy Cohn being Velma, and even a Kate McCucci. You could have a Linda Cardellini, a Haley Kiyoko, and all of that. Because I do think some worlds are going to be more similar than others. Like, almost in hindsight now, I almost think you could frame the 2002 movie as a very close variant of Zombie Island. Like, that could be a parallel story to each other. And equally, like, just going through the new book, Scooby Doo and the Mystery of the Haunted Library, some scenes in that are quite close to what we saw in Scooby Doo The Mystery Begins. So I think it's fair to say that some universes are closer together. So say if, Mystery Incorporated with the Prime, that's Earth 1, you could have something so bizarre like Velma, the Velma show, that nobody really
Yeah.
liked, being like Earth 8,2966.5, like stuff like that. And you could almost use it as a way to, like, I mean, Mindy Kaling Velma could be the villain. Like, if they don't want to do David Zaslav, which I know that they definitely wouldn't, from Warner Brothers almost doing a bit like of a backtrack, if you make Mindy Kaling Velma the villain, I think that'd kind of be interesting as
She
well.
gets exposed at the end.
Because I
But
know people
she's
don't
the
like
villain.
this, but some people were annoyed by Scrappy. So
All right.
James Gunn made Scrappy the villain. Again, you can discuss whether that was the right move or the wrong move, whenever you want to. But in terms of, like, there's going to be people growing up now, or people now, that have been very annoyed by Mindy Kaling's Velma. So it makes sense that if one of those were to grow up to be a producer, a creator, a director, they could make Mindy Kaling Velma the villain of a future show. And I don't think that'd be bad, because there's no erasing it now. It's happened. People have
Yeah.
seen it. So why not just take the L and turn it into something else? That'd be cool.
Use the negative to make a positive. Be like, right, let's just 180 this as a Scrappy. Like, we're gonna throw you in as a villain, and then somehow, I don't know, bring you back to the good side or whatever.
Yeah, or just keep her like in some
Yeah,
multiversal prison.
throw in a universe where like Velma's just all alone. There's no books or nothing. There you go.
It's an isolation universe. The Saslav verse or
Yeah,
something
where
fun.
writing was never invented.
I mean,
Because
you
the
could
multiverse.
you watch the Velma show, they probably don't know that writing was invented, because I don't know what some of the things were happening. I think that's the multiverse that they're from. Um, but there's so many cool things you could do. Like, it's probably just gratuitous, like some multiverse things getting they can run a risk of. But I'm just thinking about better and more expansive stories, like a cameo from the Lego verse, like, because there's so much of Scooby now. We've got Lego, there's
Oh
puppets, there's
God, yeah,
Be
I forgot.
Cool.
Yeah, you got the puppets. Though I was thinking the other day, like those puppets, I would love to own the original ones they used.
Me too.
Because you can't. I tried searching online for them, but I don't think you can actually buy them.
I want to find them though. I want to find them. But it's interesting because I want to see a bit of like parallels. So we had Daphne from Be Cool Scooby Doo being obsessed with the Daphne puppet. I think it'd be really cool to see something completely a bit like that but different. So say Kate Melton as Daphne holding the Daphne puppet from Mystery Map. Like and so kind of like an imitation of things. Like I think that would be really interesting as well. Because I think Scooby Multiverse will one. I think it would just, I mean, for Warner Brothers' point of view, it'll be a good way to jump on a trending topic. And we know that they could do with the money right now, let's be honest.
The only issue with the multiverse is that we have to then sort out all the shows and movies into which universe they belong to before they even start making a show about the multiverse. Because if you try and make the show and then throw them in, you're going to get so confused to begin with. Because
Mm.
none of the movies and shows are in any timeline order, but some
It's
of
so
them
strange as
are.
well, but you're right.
Yeah,
Because
because
there's really not even anything to say that
no,
2002 movie and Monsters Unleashed are in the same universe, apart from the same actors.
that's the only thing that distinguishes them. So it's like you then have to find out, right, let's separate all the movies, which
Mm.
ones are similar, and where could we throw this into the multiverse and which variation is it? That's
And
what you have to do
definitely
first.
Return to Zombie Island. I mean, if they make that distinct, I mean, Return to Zombie Island could have been a sequel to another universe's Zombie Island, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Because
Belongs
it
to a
definitely
universe where
wasn't a
zombies
sequel to
weren't
our
real.
Zombie
No.
Island. So there's so much because you could make them two separate universes. It will be a bit complicated, but I think it's even if they were to dumb it down a little bit, like Puppet Universe, Lego Universe, live action universe, younger live action universe.
Because they did
Maybe they could do it like that.
because they
What
did the
art
Lego
style?
Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. They threw that in as a cameo. So it
I would
makes
say
sense.
art style more than anything.
But it'd be very good seeing all the variations of Shaggy, Scooby, Daphne, and Velma, especially Fred's, because if you look at Fred's personality, it's changed every season, where you really never picked up on his leader abilities until Mystery Incorporated. That's when they fully focused on him being obsessed with traps. Whereas before, he was just creating traps. Normally, it wasn't a obsession or hobby, but then Mystery Incorporated, like, right, we've got to add more flavor to this character. How can we make him more stand out? Oh, he's obsessed with traps. He goes to a trap con. And I'm like, it's great. It makes the character unique, but it's like they didn't start doing that until after Mystery Incorporated. So every season now, after that, at least focus on the rest of the gang's personalities and traits.
The cool thing about that is with the Fred variants, like 95% of them will be played by Frank Welker.
Yeah.
It'll be cool to see him try and go back and replicate how he voiced Fred in the different shows as well. Like if he made one higher pitch, lower pitch, like I think that would be just so interesting because he could definitely do it. It'd be cool to see that. Um,
Because if you watch the first Scooby Doo movie, I think it's just me that picked up on this. You remember when they captured the ghost at the start,
is
and
that
then
the Luna Ghost, the live action?
yeah, the live action
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
yeah, when they captured the ghost, and Fred explains this trap, and then you hear Velma goes, "Yeah, my trap." I'm like, Daphne's. I don't know why she was a damsel in distress because she wasn't always the damsel in distress in the show. It was Shaggy and Scooby that were bait.
I mean, to be fair though, if I'm the Luna Ghost and I'm kidnapping one of them,
Oh yeah,
it's
you
gonna
take
be
yeah,
Sarah
you
Michelle
take
Gellar.
yeah.
Like, so I don't know. He's just a creepy
And
old
that
man.
for
Ugh,
saying that,
you know.
but when Daphne goes, she's always the bait. I'm like, that can't be true because it's Shaggy and Scooby that are always the bait, and we've seen it firsthand. And then when Velma goes, "Oh, it was my trap." No, you're the genius who solves the clues to put together the culprit. Fred's the trap guy, and that's why I feel like that movie is in another universe. it doesn't belong where with the other shows because it's separate.
It
Those
all
key
has to be like,
dialogues,
that visual from Marvel where there's so many different branches. I feel like
yeah,
that explains the Scooby multiverse
because
perfectly.
that probably explains that movie where it exists in a timeline where Fred's just the leader and nothing else, and Daphne is the damsel in distress, where Shaggy and Scooby do nothing but eat
I
and
think
somehow
it'd be
distract the movie.
cool to have one universe be our universe. So they visit a world where Scooby Doo is a
It's just a
popular
show.
franchise. It's a show, it's a section of movies, and maybe they can have this set in the past or whatever, but they
Yeah,
could meet Bill
meet
Hanna
some
and Joe
fans,
Barbera,
and they're
and
just at
they
the
could be like
studio.
the kings of that
Yeah,
multiverse.
they literally meet their characters alive, and they're like, and they finally realize that they're a show to this universe, and that's all. That'd be a
There's just
nice little
so
cameo
much.
thrown together.
I would love that. I absolutely would. There's just a lot that they could do with the Scooby Doo multiverse. I think for my plans and what I would like to see the most, it would probably need to be a TV budget, well, a movie budget, like major blockbuster. But I think it'll probably be a series. So I think really, if they just do I mean, if it's a series, they're realistically not going to do anything live action, but I wouldn't even mind just different versions interacting with each other to defeat a villain. Like, even if it was just we've got the What's New gang, the Guess Who gang, the Be Cool gang, and the Mystery Inc. gang.
And we
They're
have
like on
the
a
Scoob
team.
movie as well, which is
Yeah, Scoob. Oh,
has
yeah,
it
the
has
Scoob
the
movie.
kids versions as well as the adults,
I think that would be cool.
which is
But
fun to look at.
yeah, I guess ultimately there's a lot of things I think it would do right. For instance, making people more open to different versions of the gang, not the ones that we've got that people don't like necessarily. Like, I don't want a whole multiverse thing, and the big payoff from it is, oh, now we can excuse, Daphne and Velma movie just because, oh, it must be another multiverse. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what universe it's set in. We're in this universe, and we're the ones that they're trying to market this to. So it's not going to be an excuse for that. But I think one issue with the Scooby community is it can be quite a place where purists are a bit like, we only want it done this way. This is the only thing it can be. A bit like in the Spider-Man movie, like, 2099 going, this is how the story has to happen. These canon events has to be always this always has to be the same. I think it's a bit like that for the Scooby community. So I think again, if some good writer, good director were to do something a bit different in the future, opening fans up to the ideas that it's all a different continuity could make that a bit easier. But ultimately, a good Scooby Doo multiverse, I think, is more than possible. But yeah, I guess what are your final thoughts on that?
Yeah, so my final thoughts on like I said, if they do it, a TV series is how it has to go. Even though I would love a movie, I just don't think it's going to have enough budget to put it off, and we might just get another direct-to-TV movie like Daphne and Velma. I'm not saying Daphne and Velma was bad. I prefer watching it compared to Velma. I just feel like if it had a higher budget standing and a better writer, then maybe it could have gone somewhere. Because I have no like I know it's harsh on the actors, but they were paid to do a job and they got paid their money's
Yeah.
worth. But if they got paid more, they could have got a better budgeting team involved, and it would have made the series a lot more better, and it
And
would have done
ideas like the
better on the
Daphne and
rating.
Velma books adapted into a series, I think would be amazing.
Yeah, so it can work to some degree, but I would rather it be an animated show where it's like the production can be a lot more freely done, where it's not just about getting the right actors in and paying them a lot of money. We can get the best drawers in and pay to get much more better
Yeah.
results. And you can probably get a season or two out of it.
Oh yeah, see that would be good. Oh
Because
gosh.
you can leave season one on a big cliffhanger ever, and the suspense killing people for the second season. Or what I would like to do is if they went with like so anime where it's more the art style is different. I would love to see them do a series like this, but look like an anime version of the gang. through the adventures rather than cartoon all the time. Just change it up a bit. So the main gang that we're focused on are the anime gang, so it's easier to distinguish between all the rest. So at least then we know the audience who the main like protagonists are in this entire endeavor, so we don't get confused halfway.
I like the sound of that. Like, again, all different art styles that they want to experiment with, I'm up for.
Because you can just see 20 threads complaining about which trap is better for half an hour. An episode just the threads trying to plan the trap.
They could make the ultimate trap.
The ultimate
that
trap.
Could be like the thing, like the trap to end
Overkill.
all traps.
Trap the universe or the multiverse in.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. You know, I think TV is a lot more likely, and probably because of like the different characters they're going to introduce, reintroduce, it'd probably be better to have that extra time to establish those things. So, yeah, that about does it from us. Now, comment down below if you'd want to see anything to do with the Scooby Doo multiverse, what your idea would be, and if we are going to lean into cameos, which returning voice actor or kind of actor that's on screen do you want to see return the most? Please comment down below and let us know. Mark, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on my YouTube channel or over at Twitter at Luigi or Instagram at MarkMarsh94.
That is incredible. You can find that in the description down below. Thank you for watching. If you do want to see more, then please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.